SPAnonMusicSchool School of Music, where music education is prominent. Today we have another wonderful lesson for the producer community. Today it's very special. We're going to go over, we're going to continue the series of arpeggiating chords and using theory of chords and playing chords to create melodies, also using music theory to create melodies and compositional techniques. But this one is such a treat because it's also a very emotional beat. So we're going to go over how to pull out more emotion out of music inside of the minor key. Also, the beat is also a 16-bar melody. So I'm going to show you guys how to create 16-bar melodies and how you're able to do that without it, getting boring. Also, being able to create singing melodies and beautiful melodies. It's a very melodic piece, as most of my music is, all of it is pretty melodic. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, creating a tonal center, and we select the instrument and we get a vibe down. So we're going to be in the key of D major and B minor. So D major and the relative minor is B minor. So in the key of D major, here's your scale. So we're working off of D, which is 1, okay, E 2, F sharp 3, okay, and then we have G 4, A 5, B is 6, C sharp is 7, and then we continue on with the octave. On the 8th note is the octave, so it starts all over again. And basically on the 6th scale degree of any major scale lies the Aeolian mode, which is the natural minor. So in this case, it's B natural. And we're also going to disguise this, however, and we're going to sit inside of the Lydian mode, okay? And we're going to disguise the fact that we are really in the Aeolian mode or using the natural minor. And it's going to be really, really great. So there's your scale. And basically, we're going to work right on out of the Lydian mode. The Lydian mode is the 4th mode. So in D, right? D, E, F sharp, G. So G would be the 4th scale degree. So G, from G to G, all the way to G, is the Lydian mode. So we're going to start off in the Lydian mode, and every 4 chord in the major key, if it's a triad, is major. If it's a 7th chord, it's a major 7th chord. So we get the major 7th chord, and what makes the Lydian mode unique is that it has the sharp 11, which is C sharp, okay? So we're going to simply create a double melody, and how we're going to do that is we're going to have a singing melody on the bottom line here, which is legato. Really simple, just a couple notes. And then we're going to have a falling descending line. This is all played at the same time. So this is my right hand, which is playing this thick block here. This is all played by the right hand. You can see the separation in the hands. And then this is all played by the left hand. And again, we urge you guys to play the keyboard, to learn the keyboard. It is the most dangerous, by far the most dangerous weapon for any composer, anybody creating music. It's been proven in the history of music. The greatest composers in the history of the world, no matter what genre of music, whether it was modern or R&B or even pop, were all great keyboardists or understood the keyboard at a very high level, which enabled them to compose music at will. So I urge you guys to learn that. And you can see little stuff like this, like the same note here and the line rising and then coming down on the B. And then here's the falling line. You can see it all fall. This is all finger pressure, and play with my finger pressure. And you can accomplish that too if you learn how to play the keyboard. So, and you can learn all of that at the SPAnonMusicSchool School of Music. And then in the right hand here, same thing. You can see all of these velocities are different. And one thing to notice is that I have a target note, which is F sharp. So this composition, also what you're going to learn is that certain compositions have a theme. And in this case, like a theme note, that is not even just a musical theme, but a theme note. And this and it's really good to have that, because usually a melodic composition will have that. They'll have a one note that rings out as its melodic theme. In this case, it's F sharp. So also notice that my melodic theme note is always going to be the highest when played. You see? And that's always going to ring out there. All right, so anyway, let's take a listen to it, and then we're going to break it down. So it's pretty dope, right? And right away from the beginning, as soon as you hear it, what is the first thing you notice? How oh wow, it's deep, right? It's deep, emotional melody, very melodic, very beautiful, but very deep, emotional. It has a lot of feeling and expression there, and you get feeling and expression. It's also based on the key that you choose. It's also based on the instrumentation, so the particular instrument that you select, and then of course the patterns and notes and patterns and the compositional techniques that you use to express this emotion, and that all matters. So let's tackle it. So in the beginning, we are on this Lydian chord, and if we say we're in the natural minor, we're going to treat this as a 6/1 chord progression. So this being now our 6th chord, because our bass will now be B major. So even though this is the Lydian mode, and this will be our 1 chord, which is the natural minor, and we're going to start off in the 6th, and we're going to walk our way up to the 1 chord. Now, what's happening here? We have our melodic note ringing at the top every time, and I'm playing a 6th. So this is a 6 from A to F sharp. Okay, is a major 6, which gives you, it's a consonant sound. It's a very beautiful sound. And basically, what's taking place is, in theory and in science, wherever there is a major chord, there's a minor chord. So with this being a G major chord, we can simply go to the 3rd of the chord and express it as a minor, and this will give us a major 7 chord. And in this case, we have the 9 here. So what also makes this very beautiful is the voicing, the chord voicing, how we have the interval of a 9 here. Remember, 9 is going to give you color. Okay, then we have the quality tone, the beautiful major 7 at the top. Okay, and then of course we have a 5th, was a perfect tone, so it doesn't do very much, but here's another quality tone here in the 3rd. So we have both quality tones in the 9. This makes a G major 9, so automatically that's what you're hearing. If you're wondering why does it sound so beautiful, let's just take a listen on the piano, right? And so right, so it's very beautiful. And again, the chord voicing, see how pretty that is? Okay, which is just the G to the A and the F sharp. And so we basically are arpeggiating chords. We're going to arpeggiate the B minor 7 chord, right? This is B, the root. This is the 3rd. This is the 5th, and this is the 7th. Okay, and we play it as a 6th here, and then we basically, the falling line is F sharp, D, and B. So what you get is so that's the melodic melody. Now I want you to pay very close attention, and on the bottom of that you're going to hear a double melody. So the first melody, right, is the descending line at the top, la, da, da, la, 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 right? But on the bottom, listen for la, 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 la. It's kind of a strut, you know, type of melody, right? So la, da, da. So now you have a double melody right off top with just one hand. So you have the right hand playing one melody, la 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 la, la. And then on the bottom of the right hand, the thumb, you're gonna play, and the thumb in the second finger, you're gonna play this melody. Da, 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 da. Okay, so listen for that now. Okay, so you can hear it, dum, bum, 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 and then the melody will kind of disappear for a little bit and then come back in. So anyway, this is how you create a double melody with one instrument, right? So these are all these different voices moving around to create the double melody. And then you have the falling line. Now, digging a little deeper, okay, into this. So what is going to happen? Okay, so we have this melody, right? And then we're going to do a variation, and we talk about that in this series. This is the 4th video of this series, so if you are just seeing this for the first time, I advise you to go back to the first video and the 2nd and 3rd so you can really learn, and we're building off of these concepts. So I talk about variations you know, after every 4 bars or so that way it doesn't get boring. So notice we have our pattern, okay, and then we're going to hit them with a variation right here, which means it's going to change a little bit. Da, 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 da. Okay, so anyway, this first set, this first chord is pretty much done, and of course you have a nice walking line, walking up, okay, to our 1 chord, in this case, B minor. And then the descending line here is going to run and fall, which is very, very nice, and all the way into the A note. La, da, 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 da. So you'll have, now you'll have bum, 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 boom, bum, boom, and then you'll have da, 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 da. So a nice falling, descending line into that. Now the chord is going to change. So that's our variation, and the chord is going to change. So now we're on B minor, okay, and this same pattern still works because remember, it just outlines the B minor 7 chord. So we're working off this B minor 7, and we're going to do a variation. So remember, variations keep your music from being boring. Hello. In fact, so much so that in the classical era, obviously variations is a big deal. The fact they had entire pieces based on variations, where Mozart or Beethoven or Handel or whoever would take a melody, and it's a theme rather like this, and each time it comes around they'll change it, but it's the same theme, but they'll play it a little differently, right? And I'd love to demonstrate that for you guys on some other day. It's something else, but anyhow, that's where that comes from. So right away in measure 6, okay, which is the second measure of the B minor chord, we're going to do a variation because we have already been hearing this pattern. We've been hearing that for a little while. So we go, so right, so we got da da da, and then da da da, and then ba ba da. Very melodic. Now you see, the music. What does melodic really mean? Okay, just because you have a melody doesn't mean that it's melodic. Hello. Melodic means that, okay, it's singable, it's beautiful, it's the right choice of notes that create a certain feeling, emotion of color and beauty. That's really what a melodic melody is. It's night and day for somebody who, there's people who make great melodies but aren't necessarily melodic, right, per se. Let's get, like an example would be Beethoven. Is the greatest composer of all time, but he was nowhere near as melodic as Schubert, right? So Schubert is not as the greatest composer as Beethoven, but when it came to melodies, his melodies were more beautiful. He had more color to his melodies, more emotion, more romanticism. By the way, melodicism truly also has to do with being romantic. So something is melodic, it's romantic. What is romantic has to do with beauty, right? Being beautiful, being nice, being charming. It's a sweet feeling, romance, right? It's not a harsh one. So anyway, understand that before you get to thinking you're making melodic melody. Understand what melodic means. So you need to learn these things so you can be melodic. So a melodic melody generally is going to sing, and that's why it sounds beautiful. La da da, la la la, da da da, bum bum bum. Right? So it's beautiful. So again, what we're going to do here is on the second, on measure 6, we'll hit the C sharp instead of the B, and this also makes this now a minor 9. So remember, extensions give you the color, okay? Quality tones give you the quality to let you know what they are, and the perfect tones are kind of just there to just add on more B for bulk, if you will, but they're not necessarily the important tones. So we getting some color here with the 9, and also you'll get more emotion with the more color you add, the more emotion. So we're getting a little bit more emotion there. Listen for that, and then we go back to our regular pattern, which is only going to set up the fact that we're now going to go up to E, which is the 11. So automatically, just from how we express the chords on the G chord, which all we're working with the G note, we ended up getting a major 9, and then sometimes a 13, if you will, with this walking up. And then also here we get the minor 9 right here, and then also the 13. So it's very beautiful. Now I want you to listen to the effect that these variations have. So listen to the melody as it's singing. Pay attention to the bottom melodic line and the top falling line. Pay attention to the variation here, and then pay attention to how we switch it up here and how it allows it not to get boring. And it's also a complex phrase that's very singable. Okay, and more emotion here. Here we have the falling bass right here. That's going to be a scalar line. That's going to walk you right back into our 6th chord. All right, so again, and I forgot to say, I should have said this at the beginning of the video. Oops, sorry, me. These are complex, these are advanced music theory, advanced tutorials. This is not your MIDI kit sensation and McDonald's Happy Meal kid type of thing. So I just say that to say, understand that if this is not your cup of tea, this is for the intelligent. Now, going into the second half, all right, and we're falling down here. Going into the second half, again, we're going to continue this pattern, okay, but this time we're going to reverse, right? We're going to reverse what we always have done. So before it was da da da, that's the main kind of line, but now it's da da da, boom, boom. Now we're just going to reverse it, da da da. Then bring it back. So again, these are called variations. Notice how it gives you a variety. That's variation, variety. Hello. So now this is beautiful. So you basically get da da, or you get ba da 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 da, right? Da 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 da. So it's beautiful. This is melody. Your handling of a melody is your skill set. Okay, it's your facility. And I can handle a melody, right? So this is why it's important for you to learn that, so you can be able to handle your melodies with a lot of grace. Now, also, when we hit the C sharp, this expresses the Lydian finally. We finally express truly the Lydian, because you can be in the Lydian mode all you want to, but until you hit that sharp 11, it doesn't truly express the Lydian mode and the color that you can get out of the sharp 11. It's a very, very special tone. Anyhow, remember 11 is a color tone, so it's a different kind of color, right? Because it's sharp, it's not your natural. And we have that also with the E together. So basically we have a Lydian 13 chord right here. Okay, Lydian 13. And you guys should learn about, like I said, in the series, you would have learned about that chord already. In one of the other videos, we covered the Lydian chord. And then, of course, this time, the falling line, we approach it via the D note. Okay, and before, as you can see here, it was on the B note. So before, it was, you know, and then this time it's okay. And then finally going to the last run, and then little variations matter. The way I played it here, okay, the half, and then here we shorten that half, all right, to really jump up there. So half note to a quarter note, basically. So here's the half note, and then here we play just a quarter note to approach it. And this is all in cut, so it's going very fast. Anyway, the last measure, we're back on the B minor, or the last 4 bars, okay? And this time we're gonna switch it up again. So we have this new pattern, right? So we go back to that C sharp again to get the 9. And then this one, it goes la da da. So we finish off the line. It's a complete melody. Okay, so pay attention. All right, you got completely melodic, right? Anyway, that's what you get. So now that you know everything that's going on with this, and let me see if there's anything else to point out. Just that we made, you know, to quick review, we went we arpeggiated a B minor 7 over G to make the 9. We had a double melody with a falling descending line plus a variation, usually every 4 measures, and then the second time around, damn near every measure, every 2 measures. With the B minor 7 variate to B minor 9, then to a 13 based on these melodies and the variations. Also, this is how you, by the way, this is the 16 bar melody. Now, what you learned is, okay, in order to really accomplish a successful 16-bar melody, it has to be lots of variations. Nobody wants to hear 16 measures of the same stuff. Nobody wants to hear that. So the key to this is variations, right? Falling lines, the falling lines being different. This one is different than this one, than this one. Everything's different, right? It keeps going and changing, very melodic. We have the falling line and the bass. We have the walk up, that's on a half note. This time it's on a quarter note. You know, all of this stuff matters, okay? And this is how, and then all of this, while we keep a theme, a theme note, which is F sharp, and we're going to get back to that. So now that you know that everything is going on, let's take a listen. There you go. You're learning melody from the master of melody. And this is how you create melodies, and this is how you change them. This is how you do the variations. This is how you make long-lasting melodies. And not a lot, if any, is making the 16-bar melody. All right, so now that we have that, let's move on. So really things get easy from there. So that's why that took us probably the most time, obviously, than anything, because that's the base of our composition. That is our tonal center. Our tonal center is now going to lie right at the... So that's where our tonal center, we created basically the beat is done, right? And let me just go ahead and prove it to you. So right away, you can throw in your bass and all your drums, and you'll see that the music is pretty much done. Okay, so another trick, and what makes this very unique, is that in the keyboard on the piano, the bass line is walking up, and here are the actual bass, it jumps down. This will give you a nice texture change and variety, even though it's very faint, because we equalize out the lower bass tones of the piano. The lowest note in your music, which usually is your bass, it dictates everything, the tonal center, everything, the chord progression, how things, the gravitational pull of the tonal center is dictated by your lowest note, your bass note. So anyway, with the bass basically just follows the chord progression. Okay, so just 1 and our 6 1, right? You even have the little A there, but it's the exact same thing. So it just follows the bass line, nothing special there. Follows the chord progression. And that's why when you create a chord progression, you create a very good one, very melodic, with a lot of science behind it. So that way, the bass line, when it follows accordingly, it'll make beautiful music regardless. So anyway, with the beat being done, the rest is the decoration. Remember, I talk about this. What do we have here? Okay, we have a Christmas tree, basically, that we just brought in the house, and now it's time to decorate it, even though some of the drumming was kind of like the backbone of it, if you will. But however, these are your ornaments. Basically, we're going to decorate it, and just keep following and watching and studying and taking notes, and you'll learn this stuff very quickly, very easily from studying with me. So we talk about this, and we're going to decorate. So the first thing we're going to do, as we know, we're going to add texture. Okay, because if you listen to it, look how beautiful that is, though, just alone. However, it's still thin to me, right? We need more textures. A great orchestrator is going to want to fill out his textures in his spots, and that is a part of the composition as well. So that's what we want to do. So here I have a texture disguise. Okay, so let's go peep this texture disguise. And it is exactly what I said it is. So it's a texture. It's going to add texture to our piece, but it's very much disguised. Okay. And the reason why it's disguised is because we want to feel the texture. We want to feel it for sure. But we do not want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't really want you to hear this texture. This is a compositional technique, okay? And again, I mentioned this in many other of my teachings, but it's to be felt, not heard. So I don't want you to hear this. I just want you to feel it. So all that did is add texture, and I want you, so you can hear what it sounds like, because obviously I set it low. Well, I think in this case the easiest way would be to just do this. So if you want to hear, this is what it sounds like by itself. Very emotional. How beautiful that is in texture. See, this is how you get the emotional sounding stuff out. This is a composer, guys. We're composing. We're orchestrating in the vein of Beethoven, right? Not Metro Boomin or you know, no MIDI kits. None of that junk. So, this is the real deal. Now, right? Probably up here a little higher, maybe. See how beautiful that sounds? This is emotion. These are compositional techniques. Look, the later the Impressionists guys, they played sounds. So if you think, oh, music theory is just about, please, they turn this stuff into sounds. It's just the science behind it. People are afraid of music, afraid of really learning, honestly. When you open a book, your life depended on it. Those are the people who want to down talk. It's just training, right? It's nothing. There's no stigma behind theory. The only stigma is behind the MIDI kits and handicapping you. And I have to see these ads every day. Oh, if you're an idiot like me and you don't know anything about music, we're going to furthermore make you even more of an idiot because we're going to do your homework for you so you never have to do it. How does that help you out? So if you don't know a subject and I do your homework for you, how does that help you? You just remain illiterate. That's just doesn't make any sense. I'm so surprised that, you know, people aren't waking up, but we're going to do our part here at the SPAnonymous School of Music. So anyway, you hear the textures. What's the theory behind it? G major. This is a G major 6/E minor 7, right? So if we approach a G major 6, which is really that because it's in that root position, we know that the G chord is here, but it also, if you know a G major 6 is also an inverted E minor 7. Here's your E minor 7, 5th, minor 3rd. So it's the same chords, right? Anyway, we're doing a nice roll, and this is a orchestral kind of thing you would do to get texture. Has nothing to do with, you know, being melodic. It's about a texture you get out of it. And here, over the B chord, here we play a D major 7, and where else do we have in the bass? First inversion, okay? And we're just rolling it up. Excuse me, it's called a roll. And when you play the D major 7 over a B minor, you're going to get the minor 9. So, and then here we just, by having the E in there, we got the 13 in there. So this is now a G major 13, and this is a B minor 9. See how we make the music more complex when we decorate. All right, it's all compositional skill. And then this, of course, repeats. As you see, the velocities are all real. Don't let anybody tell you that you can randomize your velocities. Learn how to play the keyboard. So how much do you love? And you got to think about it. How many guys actually make money from this, right? How many guys? And it's laughable. So the same guy who will have an opinion. Oh, well, you should do this or I only do that. You're broke. You haven't never made any money off of selling beats. I'm not even going to, because I don't want to make this about that, but I've done some numbers, and I don't mean lightweight, well into the 6 figures, and we're going to leave it at that. I'm not trying to make this about that. I'm just saying that a lot of the guys who are telling you like, oh, only use a MIDI kit, or I don't want to learn the piano, what are they? I mean, please, there's only so many guys that make 6 figures off of selling instrumentals. So, you know, I'm showing you the definite way of skill to thrash, and therefore there is no competition. When you use MIDI kits, you have competition. When you use Chord Finder or whatever the heck, these handicap crutches they got out there for you guys, okay, you're not really earning the skill set. You're in competition with everybody else using it. When you have this type of skills, you no longer are a competitor. You become a creator. You know, nobody's competing with me. You can't compete with me. You don't even know 1% of what I'm doing, right? And that's the power I'm trying to give you, okay? So, you know, have at it if you will. Now, going back. So now that you hear the texture disguise and you heard it by itself, take a listen to it and check out how it added only texture to it in disguise. Beautiful, right? Okay, so the next thing, as we listen to this, I'm trying to walk you through the psychology behind a great composer. When you're listening to this, as you hear the added textures of light, there's still room for more. And remember, texture helps you get emotion, especially if it's colorful. So we're going to go for some more texture. I'm going to add some background textures now, okay? And we accomplish this. And this is more texture to be felt. Remember, textures truly is to be felt, not to be heard. So here's some background textures. All right, so again, so you can actually understand, okay, what is that? Because you won't be able to hear it. That's my point. You feel it, but you cannot hear it. Now, also notice how each velocity is different every time. That gives you life to your music, right? And this is just the B minor triad for texture here over the B minor chord. So it just makes it more full. And think about if you had, say, if I follow what's on the what's up there, you'll have, you know, right? And then you'll have, and then it looks like, you see how different the three of those were? It does matter to play the keyboard. This is how you get life in your composition. The music will float. I listen to music nowadays and it don't move around because everybody's clicking in the notes or using the MIDI kit where all the velocities are the same. The music doesn't float. It has no life. Listen, guys, what does a flat line represent? I mean, sometimes I have to walk you through this, right? What does a flat line represent? We all know this. Even a kid, most kids know that a flat line represents no life, death. Why would you want a flat line in your music? There's no life. Okay, a flat line symbolizes something that has no life, right? No heartbeat. You're done. You know, that's your demise. So if your music is all lined up, it has no life. Think about that now. So anyway, moving on. We're about done here as we continue to decorate this tree. So that's that. Nice texture. And again, it's a B minor triad on every second half. And then we double it on the second half. And it just adds texture. Okay, now we got nice texture. Let's take a listen to it. And what would a great composer do next? So this texture did exactly what we wanted it to do. I mean, it literally sunk right into the tonal center. You can't even hear it. Amen. I have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. You see what I'm saying? And so, but on the first halves, okay, we did not, of each new beginning 8 bars, we didn't have anything. So we're going to go ahead and fill that in, and hence the fact that we don't even have something on the last end here. So all about texture. So we're going to do a decorative commentary. So this is not texture anymore, right? Otherwise it'd be listed as such. This is going to be melodic, and it's going to be commentary. So it's going to be a audible line. Okay. So here's your decorative melody or commentary. It's the same thing. Beautiful. Melodic displacement, meaning that you expected the melody to hit one more time. On 13, we did not do no such thing. And so here with the decorative melody, the target note again is F sharp. Remember, we have a theme note to this composition is F sharp. We're aiming after it. We're arpeggiating the chord going up, okay, from the third. So B minor again is emphasized. And basically, this becomes a true modal composition at the end of the day. And that's just the modal. I'm basically employing modal techniques to the composition, which is making it become more and more modal the more we add to it. Because I'm basically emphasizing the mode more than anything, right? Which is B minor Aeolian. And it's starting to overtake. D major never really existed. And now the Lydian mode has really been overtaken. Per se, overall, the big tonal picture here seems to go, and now the light has been shed fully on B minor Aeolian. All right, with F sharp being our target note. And there's different ways to approach your target note. When we talk about note surrounding, right? So what happens first? Here's our target note, F sharp. First, we're going to go on one side of it with D, and we're going to hop around the other side of it and approach it by step. And this is great on the ears. It's also that sharp 5 we talk about in the other tutorials. Okay, and there's just a repeat again. Very melodic, and now you're dealing with a triple melody because this is still a melody. Now listen, check your ears out. This is ear training. See if you can hear all three melodies at once. Is your ear that good? Can you hear, you know, and can you get boom, 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 followed by right? Can you hear them all at once now? Ooh, it's fire. Now, you hear that, and also, do you hear from the variations that each time it starts again doesn't have a sense of turnaround? This is a 16-bar melody, folks, and it never gets boring. It's very melodic, very beautiful, with tons of emotion into it, and the emotion just went up a notch when we added the decorative melody with a target note, of course. Okay, so it's more B minor expressed in a different way, all right, and which is how we end up making this really very much a modal. So something that starts off kind of with a chord progression, look how we basically cornered it into the Aeolian mode. And finally, as we're getting ready to wrap it up with just two more things here, a subtle lead, which is important. So I wanted a strong lead. We have all these melodies flying around. I'm going to add a fourth melody. This is a quadruple melody, folks. No joke. And there's different techniques to which and how you do such. Now, here, let me walk you. I'm dropping the gems. You know what I'm saying? Showed you how to make double melodies within your own tonal center set and inside of the accompaniment, texture disguise. Here's the subtle, decorative commentary, decorative melody. And then we're gonna, with that being said, this one, like with a moving melody with descending lines kind of coming back up, and you know, it's very much scalar or arpeggiated. Okay, and then in this case, this is very subtle, just a couple notes, arpeggiation of a chord, and then a lot of space. So we kind of have a lot of notes being hit at once. If I was to do another melody with a bunch of notes, it would really convolute things at that point in our tonal center. So now we're going to go for a long legato melody. Okay, as you can see, the long elongated notes here. And then also another thing to think about is the other melody. We already have a triple melody going. 3 clear, concise melodies that you can hear at once that do not get in the way of each other. Not only do they not get in the way of each other, they complement each other. It's a great triple melody. So if we're going to add a lead, this lead does not need to ring out so loud. It will overtake and overshadow the great triple melody that we have put together. So, and it will not become a quadruple melody where all 4 of the melodies happening simultaneously are working together for the same point and the same purpose. So we're going to do subtle. Okay, meaning it's not supposed to be all loud and ring out. Now, this is to be heard, but it kind of has that same similar concept. So, however, it's a long legato melody. It's a singable melody. Melodies should be singable. They should be able to be sung. Even faint melodies such as this one. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and listen to it right now. truly genius, folks. So here's the F sharp theme target note again being expressed. So what is really taking place here, okay, with this faint melody? There's a variation on the passing notes. Variation on the passing note. Here's passing notes, right? Just a note to get us right back to our target note. And so first we're using a high-low technique. Okay, we're going to go up here a third, and then back there, and then the next time we go down, okay, a second, and then up a second. You see, so it's completely variated. Each time it never hits the same note. The second half, when it comes around, we squeeze in the second note, which we double the F sharp. That's called an anticipation, by the way. You guys want to notice some other stuff? See the beauty of this real human feel? See how I played this in? As if somebody's really playing the instrument, because there is, right? It's no MIDI stuff. You can't accomplish this beauty and this melodicism with clicking in your notes and not playing the keyboard. Trust me, you will never get music to come out as beautiful as this, because at the end of the day, it won't have a human feel. Everything clicked in, randomized, is still computerized, right? Who's randomizing your notes? The computer? No go. All right. So the second time in the second half of the 16 bar legato melody, look, we go all the way down to the D, right? So we even do variations on the passing notes. And then finally, at the very end, okay, and of course we're using the high-low technique, we have an ascending walking line to rise for beautiful tension. So I'm going to create a tension line here. This is very, and all this is done with just the right hand. Typically, you want to play all your melodies with the right hand. You want to play typically your accompaniments, depending on what register you're in, but most of your accompaniments or chords will be played with the left hand. And sometimes, in really advanced cases, you'll use both hands. And but it's very uncommon. It's not very common to play an accompaniment with just the right hand, like we had here in our tonal center set in the main idea here. That is a higher advanced technical technique, or compositional technique. So anyway, F sharp right here is the target note, and we're going to do a walking line up here, which is all scalar. It means follows the scales and go back down and up. And then this will turn that final chord into a B minor 13. So we do this rise for beautiful tension. So it's going to create tension. Listen to it when we bring it back around. Okay, this is going to create tension, but it's a beautiful tension, right? Because there's different types of tensions. There's dissonant tensions. This is not meant for dissonance. This is meant for beauty, to really bring out the emotion for our turnaround. And we do this for the sake of a turnaround. So that way it makes the loop interesting when it comes back around and not sound boring. And it outlines the B minor 13 chord. All right, listen to it again and think about and listen for those things. Now you see everything coming together, sounding very beautiful. And finally, we're gonna top it off. So as we listen to this, so what's missing? You're probably thinking, man, that's what could it, it's got everything. Things that we never even, nobody's doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, well, there's more. It's missing an emotional high, okay? Meaning a climax of emotion, of attitude, of expression to top off the emotion of the piece, because this is a very emotional piece titled Gone Again. It's I Remember, but same thing, I Remember, Gone Again. It's very emotional. It's something that I wrote, during a very emotional time, and it expresses that in the music. Of something that is gone once again. So we need an emotional height, okay? And we're going to do that with this embellishment for climax, and it gives us tension and release with usage of space. All right. Anticipation right here. See how it does melody there? It's melodic. Alright, so to technique behind the melody, even though it's kind of like an embellished hit, but because of this part right here, it really is somewhat of a melody. This is a melodic line here. Bump, bump, bump. It gives you melodicism there. And of course here to run into. But this is just delay, right? Delay, so displacement of normality, what we may normally hear. And this is anticipation. Instead of being in measure 5 and beyond, it's before. Okay, and again, delay, more anticipation or melody walking into the target note there, and just a run up for a turnaround. All right, so you know what's going on. I'll let you listen to it one more time and listen to the beat with outro. All right, and I'm telling you guys right now, all of that. Oh well, man, this chord package is amazing. It just had every chord. Okay, if you cannot adjust those chords and move them around. You don't understand them. You don't know the science behind them. You can't adjust them. I mean, it's just really sad if you guys are willing to bring a project to school that you didn't even make. Okay, that you just put your name on it and tell everybody you did it. Like, come on, man, that's just getting really shameful. Shameful. All right. And the proof's in the pudding. We got guys who didn't know any music theory, just like you, didn't know anything. See, this is like the reverse of those ridiculous ads. They didn't know any music theory, and we taught them all of it. And now they make masterpieces. You know, we just upload it. Go listen to Get You Right. Shout out Rimanati on the beat. That's a masterpiece. I love that beat. And that's what it sounds like. And these guys trained, they playing piano, playing Mozart, Bach, Beethoven. They're playing jazz. They're playing chords. We got another guy get a placement. He's playing all the little piano stuff he always desired to play. And everybody's getting better. You know what I mean? So all of this, oh, if you didn't know music theory like me, then you're just retarded. Excuse my language, but it's just factual. Meanwhile, when you have SPAnonMusicSchool of Music available to you, there's no excuse, you know. So let's listen to this composition. I'm here to fix the problem. So you say what you will, but you know, I'm a fighter for music and real music and music to live on, you know. And a lot of people, the information is out there, and you have these people who are trying to destroy it for $1. Of course I'm opposed to that. I have a problem with that. Yes, I do. Because I personally know, as a professional teacher for 15 years, not just production, I've taught all levels, middle school, jazz band, classical, you name it. And as a teacher, this has been an ongoing stemming problem that basically these people are just, they have to make money. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear. They'll create whatever you want. And they don't care that they handicap you to get what they want. That's ridiculous. If I knew you couldn't walk, but I could teach you to walk, but you would pay me, but I can get money out of you to keep you from not walking, I would never do that. I mean, it's just a shame. These people are basically handicapping the world, and they're okay with it because they're making money. And yes, I have a problem with it. So that's why I talk about it. That's why I'm so adamant about it. If you don't like it, then, you know, oh well, I'm fighting a battle against you too. All right, you get it. So there you have it. Let me go ahead and I'll just do a quick rundown of what we learned and stuff. So this all needs to be comprehensive. You should have been taking notes. You should be practicing all these techniques and stuff at a later time once you're able to digest all of this. But basically we covered a ringing tone, meaning a theme tone, F sharp, how to have one note be a theme of your entire composition, the 16-bar melody, what it takes to accomplish the 16-bar melody in a successful manner. We covered learning into the D major, B minor, and how we took that and got out of D major and to a G major, B minor chord progression 6-1, which then eventually we led to really just seem to be modal and Aeolian. How to arpeggiate minor chords to make major chords and vice versa. With our double melody, the triple melody, the quadruple melody, falling, descending lines, variations. How to make bigger chords based on what you're putting against the bass line, I guess, and arpeggiating chords, making bigger chords like how we made the B minor into a 9 and eventually a 13, depending on the notes. Also, how to express Lydian falling lines into target notes or ascending lines into target notes. Okay. We also talked about texture, how a bass follows a chord progression. If the chord progression is proper and the music is proper, you can just follow the bass line. You don't need to do anything too special. Texture disguise and the purpose of texture, how it's to be felt, not heard. We also talked about how to put other chords on top of chords to make bigger chords, like how we took the E minor 7 inverted, G major 6, and make a bigger chord, and how we played a D major 7 over the B minor to make the minor 9. And just to add texture, right? Okay, we also learned how to decorate the decorative melody, target notes again, how to express the tonal center, subtle lead, legato melody, singable melodies, why melody should be singable, what is melody, what is melodicism, what does it mean to be melodic, high-low technique, so on and so forth with that, and turnarounds, how to have successful turnarounds to make your loop interesting and not sound boring, and also the embellishment and tension and release and climax. So you're welcome. And we do this for SPAnonymous School of Music. Link in the description to the website. I done served literally since 2016 tens of thousands of producers for years, including mainstream ones too, but that's another story. So anyway, peace and blessings. We're going to do this again very soon. This is the 4th video of the series. There's only one more left, and we're getting ready to start some other fun series and stuff that I guarantee you'll never find on the internet, except for you got the guys waiting for me to drop this stuff so that they can regurgitate. Peace and blessings. Maestro out.